So here are some things that can happen to young mango leaves. This particular one, this is rootstock, and this is not a really dramatic example, but there's some discoloration on the top and particularly noticeable on the underside of the leaf. This is powdery mildew. When these leaves were young, powdery mildew was out and about, and so it affected the newest leaves. This older leaf was not affected. So here's another weird thing. This particular plant is Prunkiemia, and it doesn't look right at all. But actually, this is a healthy plant. Prunkiemia seems to be more susceptible to like nutritional sprays than other mango varieties, and we don't use nutritional sprays on our young trees, but the grafting nursery that produced this does, and so their Prunkiemia turned out like this. So the new leaves, once they get out, start maturing, they should be the same color as the older leaves. Now the last one here has these sort of weird leaves. They're, like little holes in some of the leaves, misshapen. Sometimes that can be aphids. And the way you can tell if it's aphids is just turn to the underside of the leaf. If you see little teeny black things, then that's aphids. A lot of times aphids will cause some curling of the leaf also. But all of this stuff, these holes and the crinkles and stuff in these leaves, that's wind damage. And when the mango leaves are just emerging, they're very fragile. And so apparently this particular plant was out in the wind and it got some damaged leaves. So here is an example of young leaves that have powdery mildew and wind damage. So with the powdery mildew, you can see there's a lot of discoloration. And then the wind damage, there's just a lot of holes in the leaves, some rips. So anyway, these leaves are not looking great. This variety happens to be lemon meringue or Pot-Picolet, and it's just the young leaves that got hit. Those three things that we've looked at, the powdery mildew, the wind damage, and the foliar spray damage, those are things where the young leaves are more susceptible, but none of those three things are life-threatening to the tree or to even the branch. They don't look great, but the leaves are still functioning. But with all of this powdery mildew, that's probably, really reducing the amount of food that these leaves can provide for the plant. But it's still something that will outgrow. Powdery mildew is not a big concern at this time of year, but when these leaves were younger, it was around the grove, and so that's what happened.